Today on the podcast, we're talking air guitar, movies, and world peace. This is the Kansas City Podcast. Welcome to the Kansas City Podcast. I'm your host, Cole Lindbergh. You know, many of you know me from that time being stuck in a well. And if not, it's nice to meet you. You know, each week here on the Kansas City Podcast, we are joined by a one-of-a-kind KC native for a conversation on life in the city of fountains. What do you think of that tagline? It's pretty good.
I like it.
You like it?
Yeah.
Is that going to help my SEO?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very excited. I have a very special guest here on the show today. I've been wanting to have him on the show for a while. He is a man of many hats. He's a multi-hyphenate. He has many different things that he does. So we're going to talk about a lot of those individually, but let me say this. He is the 2013 World Air Guitar Champion, Eric Melin. Eric, welcome to the Kansas City Podcast.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for being on the show. Now, we're going to talk about, you're involved in many things, because I know you're involved with movies and social media and air guitar. The list goes on with Scene Stealers and the Kansas City Film Critics Circle, all that type of stuff. So we'll talk about some of that stuff later, but I got to know, man. I want to hear the air guitar story, because it is your job now to spread world peace through guitar throughout the entire world. Can you give just a little bit of insight into the world of air guitar? We could even start at the beginning. I want to hear this story. This is insane to me. Because you were the world champion.
Yeah.
You went to Finland.
Yeah, Oulu, Finland.
You won the world championship.
And now I've been there
Finland.
4 or 5 times, and I'm planning on going back again this summer.
It's insane.
Yeah, so I'm an ambassador for world peace now. I'm no longer a competitor. I'm retired.
Oh, you were retired?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens when you're retired? Do they just do you hang up your air guitar?
I do, but I always find it in Oulu when I go back.
Okay.
I'm kind of like, one of those Zen Buddha masters now.
Okay.
When the younglings come to Oulu, I let them know what they can expect and set a good example for them.
So you're giving them guidance, basically.
Yeah, I'm kind of like Yoda.
Okay, very nice. The Yoda of air guitar. Air guitar, you master. There you go. Right? Spoiler. No, I'm just kidding. So let's take it back. So when did you realize that air guitar was a great creative outlet for you?
Oh, my God.
When did that, because look, as a kid, listen to music, we all play air guitar and stuff. But when did you realize it was a competitive deal? This was actually a thing that you could do competitively?
Well, believe it or not, it was because I was a movie critic. I had graduated from film school here at KU in 2004 and just started immediately writing movie reviews like I knew what I was doing. I started a website. We started a YouTube channel. All of a sudden, publicists were calling me. I was interviewing movie stars. It was just people were taking me seriously, and it was I didn't really understand what was happening.
The power of the internet, right?
Yeah, at the beginning of it, right? When social media was in its infancy, basically. And even before that, right? YouTube was before Facebook and all that other kind of stuff. Went mainstream, at least. This is around MySpace.
Oh,
era.
okay. Yeah.
But
your top 5 or whatever.
Yeah, and I saw a documentary called Air Guitar Nation because I rented a DVD from Netflix that came in the mail.
Okay.
And I watched it, and I was blown away because I remembered vaguely seeing a preview for it, maybe at the Screenland. Mm-hmm. The old Screenland on 18th in Washington, I believe. And for some reason, it didn't click with me at all. There was something about the preview that made me think, oh, this is just a bunch of party animals being idiots. And even then, it didn't look like a bunch. It looked like 20 or 30. And I'm like, this is nothing. I don't know why, but I never pursued it. And then when I actually rented the documentary and watched it, it chronicles the first year of U.S. Air Guitar's existence, which is America's entry into the World Air Guitar Championships. And, of course, the first year, because we invented rock and roll, we went all the way to Finland and won the whole thing.
Nice.
Nice. So it's about a guy named C. Diddy, and he becomes the world champion, and then his challenger, Bjorn to Rock. And Bjorn Tarak is now the MC and a guidance counselor for every world air guitarist.
Okay.
He has hosted pretty much every show since then.
Bjorn
Tarak, yeah.
I love it.
And it turns out he's a freelancer for the New York Times and an amazing, talented musician on top of that.
Okay.
So Bjorn is now one of my friends. And everyone else in the movie, like Zach Monroe, the champion from the UK, I met him. The people who were running it, I've met some of them in Finland. Even some of the competitors from way back then. It's like all the people that were in the movie, I eventually, when I went to Finland that year in 2013, which was my first visit to the country as a dark horse, I hadn't even won in America. I just kind of went there on a lark.
That's right, because you didn't, you were like a wild card,
yeah,
right? You didn't win in America. You were a wild card that got to go to Finland.
Essentially, I got second place by 1/10 of a point.
Okay.
So the guy who beat me, Lieutenant Face Melter from San Diego, who is a really, really good friend of mine, we've had this bitter rivalry for years, right, in the U.S., and he's always bested me by at least one position every time, right? And this was the year that we were both kind of really gunning for it, and he beat me by 1/10 of a point. And then he came up to me after the show, and he was like, I'm so excited to be going to Finland. He's like, I was kind of planning on this because I thought you were going to win.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, well, I've secured a spot at the Dark Horse. I signed up months ago, and I've already bought my plane tickets. I was going to Finland anyway. I'm like, well, that was really smart.
Way to go, man.
And then he goes, I can call them tomorrow and give you my slot if you want it. And I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
So I went to work on Monday. I told my boss I needed the rest of the week off, and I flew to Finland on Tuesday.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was that quick. Like the championship in LA was on Saturday. Sunday, Face Melter told me about this. And Monday, I told my boss. And by Tuesday, I was on a plane. And I was raising money on the internet selling T-shirts, trying to pay for this because a last minute plane ticket to Finland is about $1,000 more than it would have been if I would have actually planned for it, months before. And then I didn't have a hotel. So when I got there, I was just relying on these people who I just met who had hotel rooms, and
you basically bootstrapped your way to Finland.
Totally. And everybody knew. They were like, who's this crazy guy that joined at the last minute, Nobody knew who I was, but they all knew that there was a really broke guy who had just made this stupid decision. And Doug the Thunderstruck, he took pity on me the second night. And I slept in his hotel room, and he's like, let's just do this together. You can sleep here. It's fine. You don't owe me anything.
Wow.
And I'm like, that's awesome, dude. And what happened was we both beat Face Melter and the reigning champion, Nordic Thunder at the time, also from America.
Yeah.
And we tied going into the third round as first place, Doug and myself, the two guys who were sharing a room, who were both Dark Horse competitors, right? Well, I made it through. I won the Dark Horse the night before. Doug made it through, and then there we were. We were we were second and fifth to go, I think.
Wow.
And we ended up tying, and then we had to do an air off at the end, and I squeaked out a win.
Wow.
And that was it. And so it was like this whirlwind week in Finland where it was just like, how did this even happen? And before I even had time to digest it, the Reuters and the AP are shoving microphones in my face, and I'm laughing and smiling and crying. And it's just, people who don't know anything about air guitar are laughing at this right now. Yeah. But I totally understand. But after I saw the documentary and I started performing, there is a certain art to air guitar and a certain way to get your point across in 1 minute or less.
Okay, so that's
and I did really study that and work really hard to carve out my own niche, and so that was fun to see that.
So that's because to me, I kind of equate, because I love weird performance art.
Yeah.
So my wife is totally into drag queens, and I love drag queens.
Go. This is a step away from that.
I love pro wrestling.
There you
it's
go.
like one of my favorite things in the world. And
Yeah.
I remember seeing that documentary. I think I actually might own it or something. I might have an Air Guitar Nation t-shirt somewhere.
Yeah.
But can you break down because everyone kind of has their own persona and character.
Yeah.
You say, Bjorn Tarak and things like that. But can you break down kind of the character part, and then also how how the judging actually works, because you get like a minute to perform and do like you pick your own song and stuff. And if I'm not mistaken, you actually composed your own music. Is that right?
I did.
You did. Okay. Is that so? That's allowed.
That year I did. Yeah. Oh, it's allowed. The only thing is that you have to do a minute, right?
Okay.
And that the rules just state you can do anything you want. And what happened is at the beginning, people were just doing a minute of a song, so they would take 101 to
basically the first 45 seconds of like AC/DC, like Thunderstruck or something.
Or they
like
just
that.
take the best minute out of a song that probably included the solo.
Some solo
right?
from Van Halen. Okay,
and then if they were lucky, they knew how to do enough in editing software to maybe fade it out at the end.
Okay.
Right? But what happened is, with everything on the internet, is that editing software got real easy to use. And all of a sudden now you have people putting medleys together. You have people like combining 7 different parts of a song. The year before, or 2 years before, I won doing my own song. A friend of mine, Cliff Skurlock, had the multi-track recording of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Okay.
80 tracks.
Oh, man.
And we edited that down into 1 minute and put things together that didn't belong together to try to make this awesome thing. And you can do that. And so now all of a sudden the art form is not just performance, but it's putting together this piece of music and then finding a way to express that visually that makes people go crazy. And there's no formula to it, but everybody through their characters kind of figures out the way to do that. And the only way for me to get an advantage over my opponents at that point, because I was already in my early 40s, I was like, this is not, I'm like the oldest guy up there.
Right.
I'm not going to move around like these teenagers.
Yeah.
So the only edge I could get was to write my own song and have the routine itself, the visual part of it, the choreography, crazy and amazing, and then just go backwards and decide, well, what does that sound like?
Yeah.
So after I wrote the routine, I wrote the music with my friend Doug Minner. I'm a drummer, so I actually just played the drums and hummed parts in a telephone to him on my cell phone and sent him these little messages. And then we built it 5 seconds at a time until we put together a demo track of it, and then we went into a garage studio and tracked the whole thing on drums and guitar and bass. And sound effects later. That comes later. My friend Bill McShane helped me with that. So
see, that's insane. So you were like kind of this innovator at the time, because it was like your own crazy mix.
People
that you
were
completely
adding
put together.
stuff in, right? Like Romeo Dance Cheetah had an entire guitar solo in the middle of a Daft Punk song that didn't exist.
Okay.
So people are overdubbing stuff, but nobody had ever, as far as I know, from the ground up, designed the entire song.
Right, like basically designed the whole routine around the song. So your character, Eric Mean Melin.
Just Mean Melin.
Yeah. Okay. What sets Mean Melin apart from like Face Melter and Bjorn the Rock and stuff? Like I have many air guitar ideas like for characters and stuff, but give me the Mean Melin like character. It's a lot of hair.
It's kind of me reverting to the character or the person that I was when I was in high school.
Okay.
I stopped listening to metal in about 1987. That's where the end of my relationship with heavy metal is, right? Okay. But in 1986, I was really into it, right? Yeah. And that was the big year for thrash with Megadeth, Slayer, Anthrax, and Metallica all putting out their best shit, right? Yeah. And so Mean Melin is that kid in his bedroom jumping up and down on his bed, and which I did.
Right.
And going to rock shows and standing in the front row right in front of the guitar player and air guitaring right in his face. Right? Like some people bang their head, and I did that too.
Yeah.
But I also air guitared like that. And I say that past tense, but when I go to a show, that's what I do. That's what my arms do.
Yeah.
I
kind of shuffle my feet and move my hands a little bit.
There's a little of
like
that.
There. Yeah, you were there just like jamming along with the guitar. Okay.
Absolutely. And so this is me. If I revert back to that space, then those are the songs I have to do.
Got it.
And for better or worse, I kind of found my way into the character completely. One year I did Hot for Teacher by Van Halen, and you have to listen to the judges, right? The judges will tell you after you're done, I'm giving you this score because of this. Half the time they're just making a joke, and they're just making fun of you because everybody makes fun of us.
Right.
And that's part of the fun of the show,
part of the
right?
Deal, right.
But he said to me, you're hopping around on stage like Eddie Van Halen, a fruitcake, just jumping around and going, ha, ha, hey, hey, with this crazy song. And you're dressed in leather and you're called Mean Melin. What's up with that?
Ah.
And I was like, oh. So I switched to Angel of Death by Slayer, which I had also edited that year and had in my back pocket the next night in Minneapolis. And it was like night and day. It's like, this is the song. So I ended up going to nationals that year with Angel of Death, even though I started with Hot for Teacher, because you just learn, right? You're just trying to figure out.
You're developing it and trying to figure out. Yeah, okay, I understand.
And then one year, a judge in Chicago told me I had one of the worst mullets he'd ever seen. And I still say it wasn't a mullet because it was over the ears.
Yeah.
But it was longer in the back than it was in the front. And that was just me not committing to the character enough.
Yeah.
And I hate people who wear wigs because wigs fall off. If you're doing your job right, you're going crazy, and wigs should fall off.
Right.
So it was at that moment that I decided to grow out my hair.
Okay.
I didn't have long hair before then.
Yeah.
I was doing air guitar for like 3 years, and it was just kind of, whatever.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I've got to commit. And so I committed, and I started growing it out. And by the time I got to Finland, it was long. Yeah. And I had an entire part specifically designed for long hair, which was having my hair tucked up in the hat and you not knowing it's long, and then the hat comes off.
Nice.
And there's this big headbanging moment.
Got it.
All that stuff was choreographed from the hair.
So wait, is the scoring like 0 out of 10? Like,
it's like gymnastics.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
4 to 6.
4 to 6.
4.0 to 6.0. 666 being a perfect score in
Okay,
America.
makes sense.
Although
Yeah.
we do five judges in America now. They throw out the bottom and the top score.
Okay. Okay, so and is there a certain like criteria they're judging on? Is it like airness? Like is there like all the little, things? Like is there one that like sticks out in your mind of
Well, airness is an actual criteria.
Oh, okay.
And airness is a made up word, if that tells you anything. It's completely subjective, right?
Okay.
They try to say it's technical ability, stage presence, and airness.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's just did this performance make you laugh or move you or make you want to cheer or do something? Or did it just sit there? And if the answer is the second, then that's not going to work. And you have to be better than everybody else to get anywhere. Like if you're not in first, second, or third place going into the second round, you've already lost.
Wow.
It's really, really hard to catch up at that point because the second round, they throw a song at you and you've got to make something up.
Oh, okay.
So, and that is what happened in Finland. And as usual, they gave me a Finnish song. So I usually have like a leg up on people because I have a really vast music vocabulary, and I'm usually pretty good at recognizing a song that they're throwing at me. And because I've been playing in bands all my life, I have this ability to go, oh, well, the edit's probably going to be here.
Right.
And they just threw this crazy Finnish song at me called Electric Butt, and it was not thrash at all.
Yeah.
And I just went for it, and I had six people in front of me.
Yeah.
To listen to them doing it, and I was working up the routine then on the side of the stage in front of a speaker with in the audience moat down there.
Yeah.
And just went up and did it. You have to be really, no pun intended. You have to be really quick on your feet.
I imagine so. So now, so let's talk about, so you win, because there was didn't they broadcast it live? I think I watched
it's live every year.
It's live every year. So, and then because there's a bunch of people there. It's not like this is a whole world, how many people were watching the World Championships when you were there?
8,000?
It's insane because it was in the big plaza or whatever, right?
It's in the town square.
Okay.
Yeah, except last year they moved it out to an island in Oulu, and it was its own, a big festival stage and everything, which was crazy. And they had a great turnout, even though it was pouring rain last year the whole time. So thankfully my year it wasn't raining, but it doesn't seem to diminish the spirits of the Finns and the other people from all over the world who just come to see this crazy thing.
So why Finland?
They started it.
They started, so that's the World Championship. Okay.
I
didn't know there's some special connection there other than so Finland was crazy about air guitar.
Yeah, 20-something years ago, there was a guy who just said, we're going to have the Air Guitar World Championships. And then they did it, and everyone that won was from Finland. And then they did it again, and everyone that won was from Finland. And then people started coming, and he's like, oh, well, we've got something here.
Yeah, we're doing something. So with having won and becoming the world champion, I mean, what happens? Like, give me what happened immediately after. Like, do you have like a special crown? Like, do you have to go around and spread the air guitar message to the world? Like, is it like a Miss America type deal? Like, what?
It's
what
like
happens?
Miss America, but without all the fuss.
Okay, all right, great.
I think it's kind of a combination of luck and what you make of it after it happens, because you're famous for like one day.
Okay.
And you're on every news story in the country, in the world, honestly. I mean, there's people from countries that speak languages I have no idea even what they are, who have like video things of showing clips of me winning and saying my name, and they don't translate well. One of them called me a bastard, and I'm just like, what are they?
What's going
What
on?
is this? But no, I mean, you're on, the Today Show and Good Morning America. Like, everybody is running it because Reuters and AP are there.
Yeah.
And that footage goes everywhere. And so you're famous for like a day on the internet, maybe a week, right? And then that's it. And it's all gone. And then your video is on YouTube forever for people to find organically and make fun of you.
Very nice.
Which is
so
great.
then the next year, did you get to go back and compete again?
Yes.
Like you said, you're retired now. So how many more years do you get to compete? Or is it like, oh, you have a certain time and then you're done?
Right. So I went back the following year, and they pay for everything that year, which is amazing.
Well, they better. You're the world champion.
I know, right?
They're your hero.
Yeah. So I went back and I wrote another song.
Okay.
The second year, which was a little bit of closure for me, because in 2009, when I did my first year, I didn't know that I could write my own song. I hadn't figured that out yet, but I had this move I wanted to do where I impaled myself with the air guitar.
Okay, yeah, I've seen this before.
Well, so you probably saw the world version, but in 2009, it was really terrible.
Oh, okay.
It was a Megadeth song that I really liked, and I thought that there was a break in the song where I could try to mime that I was impaling myself with the air guitar, but nobody saw it because there's just a space.
Right.
And I'm trying to push this invisible instrument through my chest. And of course I have blood spurting out of it, which is a great effect.
Yeah.
But people just thought I was smashing myself in the chest with my hands. They didn't know.
They didn't realize.
what was happening.
They didn't get the pantomime of you actually
Exactly.
like lifting and stabbing the guitar through your heart. Okay.
So in 2014, when I went back, I wrote a real quick, like 15 or 20 second routine that involved a sequel to the move that I did before, where I threw the guitar around my neck like Kip Winger and caught it.
Yeah.
Except in this one, I threw the guitar around like Kip Winger and missed it. And it crashes to the ground in a sound effect, and then I use a Spider-Man web to get it back. And it magically comes back. So I was really going for it.
You were pulling out all the tricks.
And then I do the Megadeth song for a brief moment, which is just a callback to me in 2009, because I knew this was going to be my last competitive performance.
Yeah.
And then the last 20 seconds of the song are what it would sound like if I picked the guitar up, turned it around, jabbed it into my chest, and then grabbed it from the other side and started pulling it through with jabs and ribs cracking and blood hitting the floor.
Nice.
And so Doug, my friend who plays the guitar, he's amazing, came up with all of these, what that would sound like.
Yeah, like all these sound effects for it.
And we just choreographed it beat by beat so that there was no way people could not figure out what was happening.
Oh, he's stabbing himself.
Because it took 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And I knew that
I get
wasn't,
it now.
I knew that was risky
because
I wasn't doing music at that point.
Yeah.
The song was over, and I used the last 20 seconds of the song to just get this move down. But I got really good scores, and I made it in the second round. I was second place going into the second round. But there was a girl from Japan who was, I believe, 17 at the time.
Okay.
And she did a samurai sword thing to a Metallica song, and nobody had ever seen anything like that, because she's this, adorable J-pop looking little girl with a samurai sword who all of a sudden is like, kicking ass and doing crazy moves. And she just beat me, and that was all there was to it.
Wow.
So I ended up third because she had to do an air off with Aristotle, who's the current world champion.
Okay.
And he's won twice since then. Is my brain failing me? Yeah, he's won twice since then. So he is the reigning champ 2 years in a row, going for the third one this year.
Wow.
So it was heavy competition. Aristotle, right? AIR. It's always a pun.
Yeah, it's always a pun. That's what I was gonna say. My idea for I have a couple air guitar ideas. I'm sure there's an Air Jordan. Is there an Air Jordan yet?
There's an Air Jesus.
There's an Air Jesus.
With an Air Jordan logo, except it's Jesus.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so that was my other was Airbnb.
Yeah.
And try to figure out how to do something with that.
There you go.
And then Air Gandhi.
Oh.
I think if you find somebody who looks like Gandhi, you know, a little bit, that could be a good one.
Cross your legs and levitate somehow.
Yeah, something like, you know, like on the ground, like, and then like you rise the guitar up.
Maybe some sitar, air sitar.
Also, you could do air fryer and get an Instapot, you know, and pretend like you're burning, you know, over the. So yeah, I'm gonna work on that.
All right,
I'm gonna workshop it.
Well, you've got until April or June.
Well, here's my thing. I'm worried that, like, because I love air guitar, right? Like I'm great at it. There is such a level of performance though that goes into it. Like, I'm sure that now you're seeing it more and more, like when you go back and see the people that, like, it's becoming more and more like specific, more and more advanced, more. So like, I almost feel like I'm behind the curve because it's just like,
you got to start somewhere though.
Well, no, you're right. You're right. So like, what's some of the crazy stuff that you've seen now aside from Samurai Sword? Like, is there some other, like, are there any performers or anything that you've seen performance wise? It was just like, whoa, that's blowing my mind.
Pretty much every year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. It has gotten to the point where people feel like if you've been doing it for a while, you've seen everything.
Oh, wow.
And the pressure to innovate every year is really heavy because you know you're not going to, unless you're just a natural, which Aristotle is, you're not going to be able to just kick ass every year and beat everybody. But Aristotle always has 1 to 2 new signature moves every year that you're like, oh, I can't believe that. It's so good. I can't believe I didn't think of that. But also he's this skinny beanpole who can just pull off stuff that other people, you know, who are a little shorter and more stout might not be able to do. And there's, we have Mom Jean's Jeannie, who's currently the U.S. champ from Atlanta. She's innovating in the fact that her character is completely anti-rock. So she actually looks like she's wearing mom jeans, which she's sewed a patch on herself with her own logo. Right? She comes out with like casserole and warmers on. She's like blowing the casserole, or she's got like coffee and she's like pouring wine, like boxed wine into people's drinks right in the front row.
Right.
She has little care packages with Capri Suns in them for the judges.
Yeah.
Right? That she gives out as bribes before she starts.
Yeah.
I mean, she is like committing to the character 100%.
She's got the full thing. Yeah.
And then on top of that, she's a veteran of the air guitar scene, and this is her 3rd or 4th character. So you can see this, like, you know, where she's just been developing over time, and she finally found the character that works the best for her. And it's not a joke anymore because she is a mom now, and she feels like that sometimes. And so she's getting this, whatever you want to call it, authentic voice out there and doing, like she did Enter Sandman her first year in Oulu.
Yeah.
And there's the part that says, "Take my hand."
Yeah.
And she reaches out and pulls a hand off of somebody who's holding up a hand in the front row. You don't know, of course, it's a fake hand, and it's got blood on the end of it. And she looks at it like, "Oh, what's this?" and takes a bite out of it and throws it back. And it's like, that is not what you would expect from mom jeans.
Right.
And it's this great surprising moment, and everybody's crying with laughter. And you just realize you've been schooled, like in the middle of a great air guitar routine that would otherwise be good just because it's good air guitar. Yeah. There's this moment. And if everybody has like a signature moment like that in their routine, you're going to make a mark. And it happens. All the best people every year are pretty much doing that. So
how are you spreading the world peace now? What are you doing? Like, you know, you're retired, but I'm sure that you still, you know, do you get the itch to go, you know, do a performance or people see you perform? Like, what's going on?
Well, like Thunder Gong last year.
So I was at Thunder Gong, and you were there. Like Sudeikis was there, Will Forte, Fred Armisen, and you came up and did a performance.
Just a minute.
Before
that was the impalement.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's right. That's what I was going to say. I think you were before Winona. Were you before Winona?
I like to say that I opened up for Winona Judd.
You did open for Winona Judd, and that was great. And I was yelling, "Mean Melin!" out and there were a bunch of people that were. So you get to do cool stuff like that. Yeah. You were hanging out backstage with Sudeikis and them. What's some other cool things that you've gotten to do?
Well, I mean, the secret is you just say yes to everything.
Well, yeah, of course.
Right? I did like the Nelson Art Gallery, which was insane. Like, why did the art gallery have me? But I did. And I turned this into a TED Talk. So I've done a TEDx talk.
Okay.
And I also have a speaking website, airguitarseminar.com. And so I speak about solving problems creatively. And the whole idea behind it is I use as the basis for it, if you feel like you're running up against the same problem year after year, or you can't find your way around something, just step back and look at it differently, because it took me a long time to figure out that the problem was not being able to write the moves before the music.
Right.
And the moment I figured that out, I'm like, oh, I'm a drummer. I can do this. I know musicians.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, so I speak and I tell people this story, and you know, my real job is I'm a social media manager, community manager at Callahan Creek, which is where we are right now,
we're
here in Lawrence.
Here in Lawrence.
And you know, there's a lot of parallels between social media and the community of air guitar. And so I just, the more I talk about that, the more different it makes me from all the other boring social media speakers out there.
So how many, because I know when I've given speaking engagements in the past, and people will be like, why the hell is there an old carny here talking to me? Like, this guy used to guess people's ages, weights, and birthdays for a living. Really? Is this guy like going to have something really that I need to hear? And like, I know my age and weight, but I'll guess it for you, right? Oh, Stefano, you know, I like to do all the carny stuff. But I mean, do you get the look of like, what the hell? Like, they brought in this long-haired guy. Does anybody do you get people to perform and do stuff with it? Like,
I have a workshop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have a talk and a workshop. Yeah.
See, that's incredible.
It is actually incredible. The great thing about the workshop is it's a group workshop, and so we all get together, and in 1 hour we compose an original air guitar routine. And this is kind of going to blow it for anybody that's listening out there, but I don't tell them until the very end that we're going to flash mob it right afterwards. So we learn it as a group, and they come up with all the moves.
Right.
I just regiment them and say, we're going to do that from here to here, and then we'll move on to the next part. We learn the whole thing. We go over it, and I'm like, you guys feeling good? Yeah. And they're like, yeah. And we're like, all right, because when everyone else is eating lunch, this song's going to start, and you guys are all going to start air guitaring. And it's going to be synchronized, and people are going to freak out. And they do, and everyone pulls out their phone. But the thing is there's strength in numbers.
Right. So if it's one person doing it, it's going to be weird. But like 20, you're like, great.
Yeah. I mean, we had, what was it, a couple years ago at the Ad Club event, Gas Can. We had like 80 people air guitaring at the same time, doing the same moves. And everybody was like, what is going on? So it's and it's just like the air guitar community. You know, like you go to this thing, you don't know what to expect. You've worked up your 1 minute. You get there, you're nervous as hell. You immediately start drinking. And then you start meeting these other people who are backstage changing into crazy outfits and doing whatever they're going to be doing. Everyone's on their iPod listening to their track. But it's like we're all about to jump through this hoop of fire together.
Yeah.
And at the end of the show, you've got 20 new best friends.
That's awesome.
You know, and the only difference between that and the World Championships is when you go to Finland, you meet people from all over the world. Yeah. Some of them don't even speak your language, but there's one thing that you can relate on, and that's air guitar. And instead of spending one night doing it, you're spending 4 days with them. That's so at the end of that, it's like I've got friends from all over the world.
So what do you want your air guitar legacy to be?
I don't know.
Sorry, that's a Miss America question, isn't it?
Yeah, it kind of is. Yeah. Is it cliche to say world peace?
No.
You know, I didn't come up with
that's the goal, right?
Absolutely.
To spread world peace through air guitar.
So they founded it on the principle that if everybody in the world stops what they're doing and plays air guitar at the same time together, all wars would end and all bad things would cease to exist, because we're all united doing something together. And if you're holding an air guitar, you can't hold a gun.
Good point.
That is as absurd an idea as world peace. So take it for what it is. If it gives you hope, if you can embrace that kind of absurdity, then great. You know, come join us and have a good time, because you got to have something to believe in, I guess.
I like it a lot. We are going to take a quick break. We will be right back here with Mean Melin. I don't know, the whole time I was interviewing Mean Melin, I was, for some reason, I kept thinking about This Is Spinal Tap. I don't know why, but maybe I can come up with an air guitar Spinal Tap character. I don't know. We didn't mention it on the episode, but I've heard rumblings that there will be an air guitar qualifying round sometime in Kansas City. I'm hoping so. So stay tuned as we will continue to help promote that. Maybe I'll enter. Maybe you can enter. Come up with your own air guitar character. Also, I'm going to post the link on the website under this today's episode with the video of Eric's world championship performance when he won in 2013. So all about air guitar, all about rock and roll, baby, rock and roll. You know what I'm saying? That's a horrible accent. Hey, back to the show. Welcome back to the Kansas City Podcast. Cole Lindbergh here with Eric Melin. During the break, we busted out a few air guitars. We had a couple sessions. I learned a bunch of new moves, the behind the back, the shredding with your teeth. Wait, funny story about actually, when I was playing guitar. Okay, let's take a step back.
Yeah.
We'll go back to my days with my band in high school, right?
Okay.
And we were playing a talent show.
Okay.
And we were playing Breed by Nirvana.
Oh, good song.
Okay, and that went into Territorial Pissings.
Nice.
Okay. So
I hope you had a good drummer.
I had a great drummer, great bass player, most fun. Always enjoyed it, right? So we get done playing, I'm playing guitar and singing stuff, and so at the end of Territorial Pissings, we're just like, okay, we're just going to shred a little bit, So I went up and I placed the guitar in front of my face to start biting the strings. And I had braces at the time. And not thinking, I was like, oh, this is going to be so cool. Yeah, I'm a sophomore in high school, and I'm going to chew my guitar strings.
Yeah.
I ended up chipping off a whole bunch of my braces, and it pushed my orthodontist back another 2 weeks, or
Nice.
2 months.
Well, that's rock and roll.
But then I was very happy. I only cut my lip just a little bit, so I had I was sitting in the backstage area, and all of a sudden I look down at my hand and I'm just dripping blood out or whatever. So what excites me about doing that with an air guitar is that doesn't happen.
Dude, there is so much more blood in air guitar than there is in real rock and roll.
Okay,
absolutely.
Because of jumps and hitting your stuff. Okay, okay.
Yes. And that's why the air guitar show is so much fun. People think, why would I go pay money to see people play nothing? But you don't realize that because they're playing air, they are free to do what you would imagine superheroed, superpowered wrestling rock stars would be able to do. And they have to entertain you in another way. So
I
they're
take
not
it
worried
back
about
then.
the notes.
I would probably end up injuring myself.
There's always blood. There's always injuries. There's some really bad ones on YouTube. A guy who just jumped up and down or jumped up and then came down on his foot wrong and just crumbled.
Yeah, okay.
And the song is still going and his friends are taking him off. Nobody knows what's happening.
That's not good.
Yeah. A girl broke her toe off.
Off?
Off. Yeah.
She hit it on a speaker or something?
She was jumping up on a chair. This is Betty Be Good. This is a air guitar legend. And it was between two different parts of the chair and then the floor. And when she rode the chair to the floor, it snapped off.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was hanging by skin when she went to the hospital. She won?
Well, I would hope so. Eric, along with being the air guitar world champion and all the other social media stuff that you do here at Callahan Creek and stuff, you were also the president of the Kansas City Film Critics Circle.
True story.
How's it feel?
Oh, it feels great.
Can we talk about movies for a second?
Yeah.
The Oscars are coming up.
Yeah.
They are, yes, it'll be this weekend.
March 4th.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, is it March 4th? Okay,
March
so it's a
4th.
ways away.
Yeah.
So how'd you feel about 2017 in movies?
It was a great year for movies.
Okay.
This is the funny thing is that every year when everybody looks back, they're like, oh, this wasn't a very good year. And then you start watching all the movies that you missed.
Yeah.
And you realize it was a great year. I did a top 25 this year. I wrote the top 12 for The Pitch, which was published in The Pitch. But my runner-up list was so long that just for fun, I created a Twitter moment online.
Okay.
And put visuals and quotes from my reviews and made a top 25.
Yeah.
And even then I was still leaving out Lady Bird and some really good movies.
Whoa, you didn't even Lady Bird.
That didn't even make my top 25.
Man, so
that's
what was
how good of a year
Can I
it was.
ask you, is it a spoiler if I ask you what number one was?
Blade Runner 2049.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
What about, I feel bad because I used to, to me, I was always at the movie theater.
Yeah.
And I feel like for 2017, it was the least amount of time that I actually spent going to the movies.
If you didn't see Blade Runner or Dunkirk in the theater, then you didn't see either of those movies.
Well,
and right now Dunkirk's in the theater as we're taping, but by Thursday it'll be gone again.
So see, I need to go out and see because I love Christopher Nolan movies. But I went and saw Star Wars and I went and saw I went and saw some of their stuff. But are you sick of superhero movies?
Yes and no.
Yes and no?
Yeah, because what happens is...
I think I'm getting there.
Yeah. I've written about this several times because it seems like when a new one comes out, it seems like you're dealing with the same themes and the same formula for the movies. And what they're really doing, at least in the case of Marvel, is they're giving their properties, their characters, to people with vision. And they're letting them have a certain amount of creative freedom to do something interesting with it. So the reason they gave the latest Thor movie to Taika Waititi,
which was awesome.
Yeah, who's this crazy Australian guy who makes these hilarious movies. What We Do in the Shadows
is one of my, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah. And you watch Thor Ragnarok and you realize this is twice as good as any Thor movie before it. And it's the Airplane of Marvel movies. Yeah. In that it is poking fun and taking the piss out of superhero movies the whole time, which is exactly what we need right now because we're sick of them.
Yeah.
And then somebody comes out and puts out a tone-deaf DC movie, and you're just like, okay, well, whatever, who cares?
Well, that's why I'm excited about Black Panther, because Black Panther looks like it has Ryan Coogler directed it, which did Creed, and I mean, it looks like a very has a very specific point of view and something that you're not going to see before.
Jordan, those guys together, they've already proven twice they can make great movies.
Fruitvale Station, I love that movie. That was great.
So that's a prime example, right? Black Panther would never be made by, I guess if it would be made, it wouldn't be made like it was.
No,
right?
no.
So I'm excited that these mainstream pieces of entertainment are starting to branch out a little bit. I understand there's a larger story at work, and that's frustrating because a lot of times we feel like not anything can happen. We kind of know what's going to happen and how it's going to end, which was why The Last Jedi, if we're talking about big studio movies, was really refreshing because Rian Johnson...
I loved it.
Got rid of some characters in surprising ways, and then also not even killed people, but he made you believe that with the stakes of what was happening, they couldn't be higher, and that he led you to believe that one thing that you've seen in many Star Wars movies was going to happen, and then he didn't do that.
Right.
And some people are rebelling against that, and other people are like, I feel like I finally thought anything could happen in a Star Wars movie.
Right.
We don't want to know if there's no suspense, if there's no stakes, if we don't feel like there's an investment and danger and a payoff, then there's no point in going to the movies for these films.
My quick Star Wars review is that I thought it was incredibly well done. I could have done without Little Broom Boy at the end.
I loved Little Broom Boy.
See, I was to me.
You know why that was amazing?
I know why it was amazing, but it seemed to come at such a weird, I get that Luke Skywalker, the legend of Luke Skywalker, is now spreading back across the galaxy, and that there's people out there and stuff. It just felt like weirdly out of place to me, in the movie.
The scene right before that, weren't there kids playing with dolls that they had put together and made themselves?
Yes.
How much cooler is that than going to a mall and buying a Star Wars figure or a Burger King glass, right? It's like, this is what it would be like if it was in that world at that time.
Yeah.
And if it was grassroots and if it was this legend that people told themselves before it was this mass marketed behemoth. And we're like, why is Rey not in the toy stores? Can we just watch the movies?
Yeah.
Can we just get away from all that other stuff and just enjoy it? And so for me, I thought it was like a perfect way to express at its purest heart what these movies are supposed to be.
I get it. I get it. So with Blade Runner 2049 not being nominated for best, it wasn't nominated for Best Picture.
No,
and he wasn't nominated for Best Director either.
No, and that is a huge, hugely overlooked nomination right there. Denis Villeneuve should have been. He should probably win it because it is the follow up of
one of the greatest sci-fi movies of all time.
Right, and I would say the most crazy, unwanted, poorly devised sequel of all time, except that George Miller just did it with Mad Max 2 years ago too. And it's like,
why would you want a Blade Runner sequel? Why would you want a Mad Max sequel? Because they're badass as hell. That's why.
And they did them better.
Made them badass.
They made them better, right?
Yeah.
It's like you take this old property that people love and you inject something new into it, and you do something surprising with it. And the bottom line, the truth about Blade Runner, is that if it would have crossed the 100 million mark, if it would have made more money and would have been an actual financial success, because it cost 180, right? It's viewed as a loss, so it's viewed as a flop in Hollywood. If it would have made more money, it would be nominated. That's the bottom line. Artistically, it's top notch. It's all in all the bottom categories and all the technical categories. It's there, and it's probably going to win cinematography for Deakins for his first time ever.
Yeah.
But
It better.
But if it would have made money, then we would have seen it get those higher nominations. But it didn't, so it didn't.
So you're willing to make a prediction on who's going to win?
Well,
is it going to be the
early
billboards?
date,
It's going to be 3 billboards?
I think 3 billboards is the front runner.
I didn't see it.
Although Shape of Water
It did.
won the Critics'
Del Toro.
Choice Award, which is technically a bigger predictor than both the Golden Globes and the SAGs.
These are 2 movies I still have not seen.
So those 2 might cancel each other out, and Get Out might win Best Picture. That's my early prediction at this date, which I don't know when this podcast is coming out. This is January 31st, so I'm really early on this. But right now, I feel like if there's an upset, and don't you always want there to be
it's
one
the sleeper,
like last year?
it's the sleeper,
This is Get Out is the one. And I realized this year at the Kansas City Film Critics Circle meeting, because we all got together and we vote on the best movies of the year for the Circle. And that was the consensus. Get Out won.
Yeah.
And it was weird because there were you had the Lady Bird people over here, you had the Dunkirk people, and the Shape of Water and the 3 Billboards people. But the one movie everybody agreed on was Get Out. And I didn't know that it was a consensus pick. I had no idea. I thought it was too fringe and too genre to be considered. But it's timely and relevant and amazing and hilarious and scary. And it's like the reason you go to the movies. And so if people have their proclivities in one direction or the other towards these other films, and everybody agrees on Get Out, maybe that'll win the Oscar.
That'd be pretty sweet.
It'd be great.
Otherwise, we're all going to the sunken place. Eric, it's time for one of the favorite parts of the show.
Yes.
It's time for the Casey quiz.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, Eric, you know how this works. I'm going to ask you Kansas City-related questions. Of course, now you will receive points. Okay. Yeah, you get points.
Is this like air guitar points?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Keep it that way. There's a leaderboard and stuff.
Okay.
If I ask you a question and you don't like the question, you can always say, stupid question.
Okay.
And remember, folks, you can tweet us at Kansas City Pod if you'd like your question added to the Casey quiz. Are you ready?
Yes.
We always start with this question. It is a very popular question. It's the way to go. It gets you right in there. Are you ready? Your favorite restaurant that is not barbecue. Your favorite restaurant that is not barbecue.
Ooh, that was good. That was good. You threw me for a loop there.
This gets you thinking, right? It gets you started up here on the Casey quiz.
Oh, my God.
If you have more than one, it's okay. I will allow it. Remember, the points are at my discretion.
Oh, boy.
Taking out the barbecue part, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Immediately, I was going to say Q39 because that's where I always go. And when people come to town, I'm always taking them places, and it's always barbecue.
Yeah. But I want not barbecue.
What is? There's like 3 Mexican joints that I go to on Southwest that are all in a row, and I think one of them is called Tacos Ritos or something like that. Tacos Lupe.
Yeah.
They all have like crazy names. You have to bring your own beer, and
yeah,
that's my favorite place.
Okay.
I love Mexican food,
well,
and that's the greatest place to get it.
I like it. Okay, so now you've already kind of ruined it, but the second part of that question is favorite barbecue.
Oh, okay, yeah, Q39.
Why Q39? This is a very popular question because it always splits between Joe's Gates and Q39. There's never been like...
Arthur Bryant's.
Bryant's a little bit.
Bryant's was my original favorite. Joe's took over, and now it's Q39, and maybe that's just...
So why Q39?
How it goes. The sauce.
Is it the sauce?
Yeah. Yeah. And, the burn ends. But the thing about their freaking burn ends is that you can't order just the burn ends.
Right.
It's such a pain in the ass. You have to order that one that's like a combo.
Yeah, you gotta
and you
order
get
the
half
combo.
burn ends. Mm-hmm. Or you can ask them, you can say like, hey, do you have the appetizer? And they always say, no, we don't have that, because they're always packed and they don't ever have that available.
Yeah.
So it is kind of frustrating.
So Q39.
But Q39.
I give you 5 points. Here we go. Your favorite place to see live music?
Record bar.
Record bar.
Yeah. Yeah, the
new
new
record
one.
bar.
The new one with the balcony and everything.
Really?
It's awesome. It sounds amazing. We played there. The Truck Stop Love reunion was there, and it sounded amazing. That was the first time I played there. I'd only seen bands up until that point, but yeah.
Very nice. 2 points. Here we go. If given the chance, would you base jump off of Liberty Memorial?
If given the chance.
Yeah, if given the chance.
I am afraid of heights.
Oh, okay.
And I once tried to solve that by bungee jumping in a parking lot of a Walmart. So I did that. It didn't solve anything, but I did it.
This is opening up so many other questions.
But yeah, I mean, I would do that. I think I would do that.
Give it a try?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I would have to prove to myself again that this power does not hold sway over me.
Gotcha. Okay. I that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Very nice. Here we go. Your favorite local event. You have a favorite local event?
Favorite local
It's kind of
event?
weird because it's wintertime right now. Restaurant week just ended. There's some other stuff that's coming down the pipeline. It's hard to, what do you got? Favorite local event?
Well, I will say that my favorite local event was the Noir City Film Festival at the Alamo Drafthouse, but they didn't do it last year. So this is my plea to you. If you work at the Alamo Drafthouse, please bring that back. Noir City is amazing, and it's Eddie Muller, this guy from San Francisco, who takes it across the country and goes to different cities. And the 2 years I went to Noir City here in Kansas City, it was great. It was fantastic.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Favorite bar?
Favorite bar is probably, oh man.
I know, right?
I mean, I'm only out at live music, so I got to say the Record Bar again.
Go to the Record Bar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice. 2 points. One word to describe the KC airport.
Heaven.
Really?
Yeah, I'm really disappointed that they're doing anything with it because I live here. I would never want
That's a
to get
good
stuck
point.
there.
That's
But
where the dividing line is.
The only other airport that I have been in and on a flight quicker was Fargo.
Makes sense.
And I literally, I got done with my speaking gig. They dropped me off, and they were like, okay, get right on the plane. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they were like, you can be on the plane in 10 minutes. And I got in there, I went through security, and I was on the plane in 10 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I feel like I can do that in about under an hour.
Oh, yeah.
At KCI. Yeah,
sure.
I love it. So it's heaven. And one time I missed a flight and had to spend 6 hours there. So I took a nap in a corner where nobody else was, like behind an unused thing. So all of the unused counters for airlines that have come and gone, that was a really nice place to sleep for 6 hours one time. So
here we go. I've got your next one here. Sharks. Are they dinosaurs?
No.
No. But they're very old.
I think that's probably very true. Yeah.
You're going no.
I'm going no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you rather go to the Nelson, to the Negro Baseball Leagues Museum, or the World War II Museum? Where are you going?
Nelson.
Going Nelson.
Yeah.
You got any favorite spots in Nelson?
All the contemporary stuff.
Really?
Yeah. I'm into that shit. And I'm not a baseball guy, but I bet that'd be a cool museum to go to. And I love the World War I museum is amazing.
Well, that leads us to our next question. If you're not a baseball guy, because I want you to put the following in order. This is your however you want to. This is your feelings. Chiefs, Royals, Sporting, Mavericks. Put them in order. What do you got?
I think you just did it for me.
Oh, exactly
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. I've been a Chiefs fan since I was a kid. I used to go to Royals games in the 80s. Okay. So I saw George Brett and all those dudes back in the day. And that was really exciting, but I fell out of it. And I started going to Kansas City Comets games.
Ah, yes.
I was doing the indoor soccer thing for a long time. And then my parents got season tickets to the Chiefs, and I've been on the Chiefs train ever since, including this season, which I went twice. And it was such a heartbreaking, horrible way to end such an amazing season. But Chiefs is the only sports I do. Like, not just football, just one game each week, whoever the Chiefs are playing, and that's it.
Got it. Here we go. I'm going to give you 5 points for that. That was really well done. More Streetcar?
Yeah.
You like Streetcar?
Yeah.
You been on it?
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
I like not having to park downtown. Okay. It sucks. It's crazy down there. I mean, I think public transportation is awesome. I don't know if Kansas City's ready for it, but it's glad. I'm glad that it's there. I'm glad they're trying.
All right. We're doing really well here. You're doing great here on the Casey quiz. I'm calculating your points right now. Here we go. We got another one. You got to pick one. You going to Worlds of Fun, the Zoo, or Schlitterbahn?
Worlds of Fun.
Worlds of Fun. You got a favorite ride or Worlds of Fun? You said you're afraid of heights, so this could be an interesting answer.
I'm not afraid of heights if I'm going fast. The hardest part for me is going up on the roller coaster, right? So
yeah,
the
it's
Mamba,
the anticipation part of it.
Yeah, I love the Mamba because it's just fast and crazy and up and down, and I love it. I went on the Orient Express a million times when I was a kid. I got my head bashed in. I went on it so many times that we were like putting our feet up, and like people had to like stop the train and come up there on the side on the I can't say it, steps. They had to come up on the steps while we were going up and tell us to put our feet down. They stopped the ride because of us.
Very nice.
So yeah, definitely Worlds of Fun.
Are boneless wings just chicken nuggets?
Thank God. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Nobody wants bones. Who wants bones?
But are they just chicken nuggets?
Yes.
Okay.
They are. Yes.
There's a very large contingent. It's the same as the hot dog or sandwich question.
Okay. Anything without bones in it, I don't want to work for my food. That's the
Okay.
bottom line. I don't eat lobster. I don't have time for that shit.
We're nearing the end here. I've got a few more questions for you. Where's Waldo?
Brookside?
Okay. 1 point. Your favorite local brew? You got a favorite local brew?
I do.
Okay, break it down.
Torn Label Monk and Honey.
I've had that.
Delicious.
Very, very good.
Yeah, that's my favorite one.
Very nice.
Although Tank 7's a close second.
Yes, I agree with that as well.
How many points do I get?
I'm going to give you 4 points for that. Okay, so finally, it's our final question. It's time for the Google Challenge. And here's what I have done. I have gone to the Google machine, and I have typed in the start of a phrase, and I need you to complete the autofill here on Google, okay? So I went to Google,
Oh, no.
and I typed in, is air guitar blank? What does Google fill in? Is air guitar...
I would like them to fill in real, but I think that more likely the next word that appeared was stupid.
Very interesting. I'm going to show you this here. You're not right, but real is the second one.
Oh, my God. That is amazing.
Yes. So the first one is air guitar and instrument.
Duh.
Yes. But is air guitar real?
That is a philosophical question.
That is very nice. So
Yeah.
that's actually how it came up. That's pretty good.
awesome.
So that's very well done. All right. So see, that's going to make you feel good about air guitar.
We did an air guitar museum, a pop-up air guitar museum
Yeah.
in 2014 in the Crossroads during Final Fridays, and watching people come in
Yeah.
and realize that they were essentially looking at a room of empty guitar stands and shadows on the wall was hilarious.
That's incredible.
They were ordering their drinks, and then they're looking around and they're like, so where are the guitars?
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no guitars here.
Do you have a
These are
name
all
for
the
your air guitar?
guitars." No, I haven't named it.
You haven't named it?
No,
Other
but-
people probably have, right?
Yeah, I actually had my guitar on display at the Air Guitar Museum. It was the only guitar in there because I
okay.
brought it home from Finland after winning it.
Okay.
They give you a custom-made Flying Fin guitar,
Whoa, nice.
which I have hanging on my wall because I have no idea how to play it.
Right.
And then we had Joe Cocker's air guitar. We had Bill and Ted's air guitars. So you could see a video of the person playing the air guitar, and then we had the actual air guitars flown in for the museum. And it was amazing, like watching
nice.
people figure that out. It took them a while, so I shouldn't be surprised that is air guitar an instrument and real, the first two things in there. That's awesome.
I'm going to calculate your points here. Let's take a look. 5 divided by 3, 6, 2, and 1. You are at 48 points. Well done, Eric.
Is that good?
That's very well good. I think that puts you up near the top of the leaderboard. We'll have to take a look on the website and see how you did.
I'm used to 6.0 being as high as I can get,
well,
so
yeah,
that's great.
I got you 48. Well
Okay.
done. Well done. Eric, thank you so much for taking the Casey quiz.
Thanks. It was fun.
All right, we are nearing the end of our time here today with Eric Melin. Eric, it's been a joy to talk to you today, sir. I'm very happy that you were able to come on the show. I've learned a lot about air guitar. We talked movies. It's been a great time. This is now your time to shine. This is your plugs. Tell people where they can find you. What they should look up on YouTube to see a clip of you, shredding unbelievably in Finland. All that good information. So, what do you got?
My Twitter account is Scene Stealer Eric. Of
That's
course.
right. We should have mentioned. We didn't
even
your
mention
website.
Scene
We didn't
Stealers,
Scene
did you?
Stealers.
Yeah.
So that's your website.
Scene-stealers.com.
That's where you can find your movie reviews.
Yep. Well, except for that, I also write for The Pitch and Lawrence Magazine.
Okay.
Which is where most of my reviews go. But the site's still there. We have a ton of writers. And occasionally I'll put up like a Blu-ray review or something like that on there. But Scene Stealer Eric is my Twitter account, with one E missing between Steeler, L and R, because Twitter's that way. And I chose it 9 years ago, and I got to stick with it now.
Yeah, you can't change it.
And, if you want to hire me to speak or see what the hell that would even look like or be about, it's airguitarseminar.com. And you would not believe the different weird places I've been. Like this, believe it or not, this talk works with all kinds of people. So I've done it for, really older crowds in 3-piece suits, and it killed. So
nice.
It's okay. It's okay to think that it's weird.
You got, if you're booking an air guitar world champion, you got to be
expecting.
You already got to be kind of an outside the box thinker to begin with, anyway, right?
Yes. So that's a good place to find out why it would even be worthwhile to have me come. It has the TEDx talk and all that kind of stuff on there. Nice. And then I guess the movie reviews and I guess that's about it.
About it.
I'm the easiest person to find on social media. Everything I have is set to public. I have zero privacy.
Nice.
So if you just look my name up on Google, you'll find everything.
Perfect.
And I'm schizophrenic, so it's all over there. My bands, all that kind of stuff.
It's all there. It's all there. Of course, you can find me on Twitter. Now, I was able to get my full name on Twitter, but I'm kind of regretting it now because I have such a long name. But Twitter at Cole Lindbergh. Of course, make sure you check out our website, theKansasCityPodcast.com. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Kansas City Pod. Eric, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful experience. Hopefully, maybe we can have you back in the future.
Sounds
learn
fun.
more about air guitar. Maybe talk movies some more, things like that. So thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thanks, man.
All right, we will see all of you next week. Thanks for listening to the Kansas City Podcast. Bye.